At night, a young boy named Tom Edwards breaks through a window into a school building, looking very scared. He makes a weapon out of some things in the school, then goes around the school with the weapon and tries to find out if the place is safe or not. He looks scared of some dangerous creature. He then goes to the school kitchen, where he looks for something to eat. Soon he finds preserved food, and after eating, he rests. The next day, he takes some wooden planks and knocks on the windows and doors of the whole school, making the place more secure. This day also passes somehow. At night, while Tom is eating, he hears some noises. As he follows the sounds with a flashlight, he senses something in a part of the school and runs away in fear and hides in a classroom. The next day, he ties some bells to the door and sets various traps so that if anyone tries to enter, he will know. After that, he takes his weapon and sits in the mess, but he does not hear any sound for a long time, so he is reassured that he is safe. Then he takes a bath and cleans his clothes. He uses a giant fan on the basketball court to dry clothes. He is feeling a lot of loneliness and boredom. Tom then faces the fan and makes noises, and he then hears some noises. As Tom heads towards the sounds with his flashlight, a dog enters the school from somewhere and is looking for something to eat. The next day, Tom uses some paint buckets to exercise. After exercising, Tom is wandering the school when he enters a classroom and sits down in a chair. After some thought, Tom cleans and sets the whole class. He puts a coat on a skeleton in the classroom and makes it stand in the teacher's place. Then Tom gets an idea and makes human structures out of hardboard, dresses them up, and places them around the school. Now Tom turns on the school's broadcast room mic and plays a tape recorder that plays the song through the school's speakers, making his loneliness a little less lonely, and he plays basketball on the court. While Tom is reading a book in the library, a wounded man enters through a window in the school. Tom suddenly hears a dog barking and thinks that someone has entered the school. When Tom goes there, he sees a man covered in blood. The man is deceased. Tom covers it with a cloth and takes the body away. The scene then changes. Tom is sitting on the ground crying when a man approaches him. Tom is then sitting in a classroom when a detective approaches him and tells him that his mother needs him. The scene then changes to Tom's house, where Tom is in his room and the detective asks questions about the disappearance of Tom's best friend Mac. He asks Tom when he last saw Mac, but Tom says he was with his girlfriend Jamie that day. The detective's questions are making Tom uncomfortable, and Tom tells the detective to go find Mac instead of trying to find out about his personal life. The detective leaves after hearing Tom's words. The next day, Tom meets Jamie, but is distracted and doesn't pay attention to what Jamie is saying. Tom tells Jamie about the detective's question, and Jamie says that the detective might question her too, and they'll have to give the same answers. Jamie plans a movie with Tom to cheer him up, and suggests that Tom go back to work on the farm. Maybe it will make him feel better. Tom goes to Farmer Joe's cornfield and starts working again. The other young boys and girls there do not like Tom and stay away from him. Now in a flashback, we see that Tom, Mac, and Jamie were together before the summer vacation. Mac wanted to leave town and do something new. Before Mac leaves, Tom makes a plan to go to the lake with him, and Mac says goodbye to them both and leaves. Then, back to the present, Tom is having dinner while his mom is baking cookies and talking to him about Mac. She's also surprised that Mac just went off without even contacting Tom. Hearing all this, Tom gets very upset again. At night, Tom hears some voices. When he gets up and goes out, his mother is sleeping, but the same black dog that showed up at school is at his house. The next day, when Tom is putting the trash in the trash bin, the detective comes to question him again. He tells Tom that he met his girlfriend, Jamie, and interrogated her as well. He also said that she was with Tom that night, but he also asked Jamie the same question he will now ask Tom about how they spent their time that night. Tom says that they saw a movie that night. The detective asks the name of the movie. Tom nervously tells the name of the movie. The detective says that Jamie forgot the name of the movie. At night, Tom is having dinner, and his mother is talking about detective. She expresses displeasure that the detective comes unannounced and harasses Tom. Then Tom sees a carton of spoiled milk in the kitchen, which is spoiled, and Tom becomes tense. The next day, Tom takes his skateboard to the skating park, where while skating, he suddenly sees Mac sitting on the bench, and when he goes there, he finds the same bell that he tied to the school door. At night, Tom wakes up, comes to the kitchen, and drinks milk from the fridge when suddenly he sees Mac outside the window. The glass falls out of Tom's hand, and he runs out with the baseball bat. Despite going around the house several times, he does not find him anywhere, so he goes back to the house. The next day, as Tom is going somewhere, the detective approaches him again and tells him that maybe he should talk to Jamie. Hearing this, he tells him to stay away from his girlfriend, and he starts to leave. The detective tells Tom that maybe Jamie hasn't told him she's pregnant. Tom then visits Jamie as they have plans to go out. Tom asks Jamie what she told the detective. Jamie tells him that she didn't tell the detective anything, so Tom asks her how the detective knew she was pregnant when he didn't know. Jamie tells him again that she didn't tell the detective anything. Jamie tries to explain it to him, but Tom leaves without listening, and Jamie starts crying. Tom is now working in the cornfield when he drops his lighter there, and he doesn't know about it. When he comes home at night and realizes that he doesn't have a lighter, he goes back to the farm to get the lighter. He finds the lighter, but then he realizes that someone is there. Mac is there when he looks with a flashlight. Tom runs away from there and sits in his car, but the car is not starting, so he leaves his car and runs back home. We then see in a flashback that Tom and Mac are partying at the lake as planned. They are both smoking cigars and drinking alcohol. Tom runs out of alcohol, so he goes back to the shore from the boat and picks up some beers and gets some snacks from the car. Meanwhile, Mac falls asleep, and his cigar punctures the floating lounge he is sitting on, and he falls into the water. He shouts for help, but Tom doesn't listen to his voice. Tom returns and tries to find Mac. He also looks for him in the water, but Mac is nowhere to be seen. Now we come back to the present. The next day, Tom frantically eats his breakfast and finds the carton of spoiled milk again. He is watching TV at night when suddenly a strange man appears on the screen, and he is looking at Tom. Tom is thinking something and waves his hand towards him. Then the strange person on the TV also waves to him. The doorbell rings, and the person disappears from the TV. Tom opens the door, and Jamie is there. Tom brings her to his room, and he apologizes to Jamie for his past behavior. Tom tells her he's happy for the baby, and when Jamie mentions Mac again, Tom tells her the truth. At night, when Tom is sleeping, the dog comes to him and beckons him to follow him. Tom chases the dog and takes him to a locked door. The dog enters through a hole in the door, and when Tom looks inside, a bright light comes out. The next day, the detective visits Tom again, and he asks the detective how he knew Jamie was pregnant. The detective says that he is a detective, and he found out on his own. The detective's words anger Tom, and he insults the detective and asks him to leave. Tom is sitting in his room, worried, when his mother comes to him and wants to know the reason for his trouble. But Tom doesn't tell her anything, so she asks Tom if she's a good mother because she thinks she's not because she can't solve his problem, and then she walks away. Tom is brushing his teeth at night when he hears some noises from the vent. As he tries to check, he hears something break. When he checks, there is a small red glass ball broken. Then suddenly someone throws another ball at him. The next day he is with Jamie, and Jamie is playing a tennis game. Just then, Mr. Merrill comes up to him and talks to him. He knows everything about Tom, and he tells him that he is lucky to have a loving girl like Jamie. He tells Tom that he is living a great life, and that he must ignore this intruder if he is to stay in this town. He then draws Tom's attention to Jamie, who is not there, and Tom goes to find her. As Jamie and Tom walk at night, Tom tells Jamie about Mr. Merrill, and tells Jamie that he has to leave town. But Jamie says he didn't do anything, so he won't be punished. Then they both see Mac there, the dog comes there, and as soon as it comes, Mac disappears from there. Then both Tom and Jamie go after the dog, and they both end up outside the same door. This time Tom removes the bars on the door, and they both enter. On the other side of the door is the back of the house, and from there they go through the fence to the other side. Then something rushes across the ceiling, and when they both look there, various things that Tom used at school are there, like the spray paint and the cloth that Tom used to cover the man's face. And besides this, there are many other things scattered on the ground. Then they find Mac's body there. Tom and Jamie see a creature there, and they quickly run away with Tom's body hiding from it. Tom buries Mac. The next day, Jamie and Tom are eating ice cream. Jamie feels very sad for Mac. On the other hand, the dog is digging up Mac's body again. Jamie and Tom are talking when the detective walks in and tells Tom that he has found out what happened at the lake that day. The detective says that Tom probably found out that Jamie and Mac were in a relationship, and that's why he eliminated Mac and that the baby is Mac's. But Jamie assures Tom that there is nothing like that. Tom gets angry and starts beating the detective badly. Jamie tries to stop him, but Tom doesn't, and then everything changes in an instant. When Tom looks back, it's not Jamie standing there, but an effigy of her. Tom is beating the wounded man, who is deceased. Then the whole school is shown where Tom has built his own separate world. That is, everything that happened was Tom's illusion. There is a statue of Tom's mother in the kitchen, and the swimming pool is littered with things like a lake. Tom starts crying when he realizes this. Tom puts the ring that he received as a gift from Farmer Joe on Jamie's statue. When Tom then looks out the window, he sees burning cars and destruction outside. It looks as if a war has been fought there. Suddenly, Jamie's hand falls on Tom's shoulder, and she asks Tom what happened, and Tom reassures her that everything is fine.